Namo Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtattar Sata Sri Srimati His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I hope all you are doing well. Today we'll be reading from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 23, Krishna's Personality. So before we begin, let's pray first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritam Naranjaivo Narattamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatum Jayamudirae. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्नित नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So let's begin. Chapter 23, Krishna's Personality. Srila Rupa Goswami stated that although Lord Krishna is a reservoir of unlimited pleasure and the greatest leader of all, he is still dependent upon his devotee in three ways. According to the emotional status of the devotee, the Supreme Personality Godhead is appreciated in three ways. At the most perfect, very perfect and perfect. When he exhibited himself in fullness, he is appreciated by a great learned scholar as the most perfect. When he exhibit himself as a lesser degree, he is called very perfect. And when he exhibited still less, he is called perfect. Still, this can mean that Krishna is appreciated in three degree of perfection. This three degree of perfection is specially exhibited as follows. When he is in Golok Vrindavana, his transcendental quality are exhibited as the most perfect. When he is in Dwarika, he exhibited his quality as a perfect, and who is in Mathura, he exhibited his quality as a perfect. These three degrees of the perfection are most specially exhibited as follows. When he is Golok Vrindavana, his transcendental quality are exhibited as the most perfect. When he is in Dwarika, he exhibit his quality as a very perfect. And when he is in Mathura, he exhibit his quality as a perfect. Krishna's personality is analyzed as Dhirodatta, Dhira Lalita, Dhira Prashanta, and Dhirodhata. If one asks how a personality can be held in four quite opposing way, the answer is that Lord is a reservoir of all transcendental quality and activity. Therefore, his different aspect can be analyzed according to the exhibition of the limitless variety of pastime. And such, there is no contradiction. Dhirodhata. A Dhirodhata is a person who is naturally very grave, gentle, forgiving, merciful, determined, humble, highly qualified, chivalrous, and physically attractive. In this connection, the following statement given by Indra, the king of heaven, is very significant. My dear Lord, I admit that I have committed great offense unto you, but I cannot express my feeling or regret. Being bewildered at seeing your extraordinary chivalrous spirit, your endeavor to protect your devotee, your determination, your steadiness in lifting the Govardhan great hill of Govardhana, your beautiful bodily feature, and your astonishing characteristics of being pleased simply by accepting the prayer of your devotee and offender. The above statement by the King of Heaven is an exact coordination of King being Dhirodhata. Many learned scholars have agreed to also accept Lord Ramchandra as Dhiradatta. But all of Lord Ramchandra's quality are also included in the character of Lord Krishna. Dhira Lalita. A person is called Dhira Lalita if he naturally very funny, always in full youthfulness, expert in joking, and free from all anxiety. Such as Dhira Lalita personality is generally found to be de- uh, domesticated and very submissive to his lover. This Dhira Lalita trait in the personality of the Krishna is described by Yajna Patni, the wife of one of the Brahmanas who are performing sacrifice in Vrindavana. She tell her friend one day Srimati Radharani accompanied by her associate was taking rest in her garden. And at that time, Lord Sri Krishna arrived in that assembly. After sitting down, he began to narrate very importantly about his previous night pastime with Radharani. While he was kind of speaking in that way, Radharani became very embarrassed. She was feeling ashamed and was absorbed in thought. Krishna took the opportunity to mark her breast with different kind of tilaka. Krishna proved himself to be very expert in that art. In this way, Krishna, as Dhira Lalita, was enjoying his youthful proclivities in the companies of gopi. Generally, those who are expert in writing drama choose to call Cupid in ideal Dhira Lalita. But we can more perfectly find the personality of the Krishna as a characteristics of Dhira Lalita. Dhira Prashanta, a person who is very peaceful, forbearing, considerate and obliging is called Dhira Prashanta. This Dhira Prashanta trait of Krishna was exhibited in the kind of dealings of the Pandavas. On account of Pandavaka faithful devotion to Lord, he agreed to become their chariot and their advisor on advisor, their friend, their messenger, and sometime their bodyguard. Such is example of the result of devotional service towards Vishnu. When Krishna was speaking to Maharaj Yudhishthira about religious principle, he demonstrated himself to be great learned scholar. But because he accepted the position of younger cousin of Yudhishthira, he was speaking his very kind of gentle tone, which is enhanced his beautiful bodily feature. This the movement of his eye and the mode of the speech can prove that he was very expert in giving more instruction. Sometimes Maharaj Yudhishthira is also accepted by learned scholar as a Dhira Prashanta. Dhirodhata, a person who is very envious, proud, easily angered, restless, and complacent is called Dhirodhata by learned scholars. Such quality were kind of visible in the character of Lord Krishna because when he was writing a letter to Kaliyavana, Krishna addressed him as a sinful frog. Sinful frog. In this letter, Krishna advised Kaliyavana that he should immediately go and find some dark well for his residence because there was a black snake named Krishna who was very eager to devour all such sinful frog. Krishna reminded Kalyavana that he could turn all the universe to ashes simply by looking at them. The above statement by Krishna seem apparently to be very envious nature, but according to the different pastime, place, and time, this quality is accepted as a great characteristic. Krishna, the quality have been accepted as a great because Krishna used them only to protect his devotee. In other words, even undesirable trait may also be used in the exchange of devotional service. Sometimes Bhima, the second brother of the Pandava, is also called Dhirodhata. Once, while fighting with a demon who was appearing as a deer, Krishna challenged him in this way: I have come before you as a great elephant named Krishna. You must leave the battlefield, accept defeat, or else there is a death awaiting you. This challenging spirit of Krishna is not contradictory to his sublime character because he is the supreme being. Everything is possible in his character. This is nice statement in the Kurma Purana about this contradictory trait of the Supreme Personality Godhead. This is stated. This is stated, and there that the Supreme Person is neither very kind of fat nor very thin. He is always transcendental to the material quality, and yet his body luster in black is blackish. His eye are reddish. He is all powerful. He is all equipped with a different kind of opulence. Contradictory trait in Krishna's person are not at all surprising. One should not consider the characteristics of Krishna, the Supreme Personality Godhead, to be actually contradictory. One should try to understand the trait of Krishna from authority and try to understand how these characteristics are employed by the supreme will of the Lord. In the Mahabharata Purana, it is confirmed that the transcendental body of the Supreme Personality Godhead and his expansion are also existing eternally. Such bodies are never material. They are completely spiritual and full of knowledge. They are reservoir of transcendental quality. In the Vishnu Yamala Tantra, there is a statement that because he is a personality Godhead and his bodily body are always full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity, they are always kind of free from the 18 kind of material contamination, illusion, fatigue, error, roughness, material lust, restlessness, pride, envy, violence, disagree, exhaustion, untruth, anger, hankering, uh, dependence, desire to kind of lord over the universe, seeing duality and cheating. Regarding all of the above mentioned statement, it is understood that Mahavishnu is the source of all incarnation in the material world. But because of this, or because of this greater extraordinary opulence, we can understand that the son of Nanda Maharaja is the source of Mahavishnu also. This is confirmed in Brahma Samhita, wherein it is stated, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Govinda, whose personal representation is a Mahavishnu. The gigantic form of Mahavishnu is a source of generation of innumerable universe. Innumerable universe are coming out from his exhaling breath, and same universe is going back in with his inhaling breath. The Mahavishnu is also plenary portion of Krishna. So here we conclude the reading of Bhaktivedanta purport. I hope all you understood. Now let's go to the inside. Please listen till the end. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
So how can one person be a gentle protector, a playful lover, a peaceful advisor, and a proud warrior, all at the same time? In this explainer, we're diving deep into the multifaceted and, seemingly contradictory personality of the divine figure Krishna. I mean, this is the central question, isn't it? We look at these qualities, gentle, playful, proud, peaceful, and they seem to be from completely different worlds, almost opposites. So how can they all exist together in one being? Well, let's dig in and see if we can figure it out. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is really lean into this paradox. The source material tells us that the key isn't to try and explain these contradictions away, but to understand a framework that actually allows them to coexist, within one complete being. And here it is, the core of the whole idea. According to the source texts, Krishna is the reservoir of all qualities. What that means is what looks like a contradiction to us is actually a sign of absolute completeness. It's not a flaw, it's the whole package. But, there's another layer to this whole thing. Before we can really unpack the four main personality types, we need to get our heads around the idea that these qualities aren't just static. They're actually expressed in different degrees of perfection, and it all depends on the context. Yeah, this idea of context is absolutely key. Scholars explain that his qualities are described as perfect when he's in Mathura, very perfect in Dwaraka, and they reach their most perfect expression in Goloka Vrindavana. So the location itself actually changes how his personality manifests. Pretty interesting, right? All right, so with that foundation laid, let's get to the heart of it. We're going to unpack the four primary heroic archetypes that really help us understand Krishna's incredibly complex character. So let's start with a pair of his most famous and kind of contrasting aspects. On one hand, the noble, chivalrous hero, and on the other, the witty, youthful lover. First up, we have the Dhirodatta. This is your classic hero, right? Grave, gentle, determined, and incredibly chivalrous. Just think of the perfect, noble leader and protector. That's the vibe. And wow, what a perfect example. This is Indra, the king of heaven, speaking in total awe. And why? Because Krishna had just lifted an entire hill. A hill! To shield his devotees from this furious storm that Indra himself had unleashed. It's the ultimate picture of the Dhirodatta's protective power. And this archetype is so important that scholars often draw a parallel between Krishna and Lord Ramachandra. He's also seen as a prime example of that noble Dhirodatta personality. So he's in good company. Okay, now let's do a complete 180. We have the Dhiralalita archetype. This is the youthful, witty, completely carefree personality who is also famously totally devoted and even submissive to his beloved. A total contrast. And this quality just shines through in his interactions with Radharani and the gopis. This quote here captures a moment where, after some playful teasing, he expertly decorates her. It just perfectly showcases that charming, funny, and intimate nature of the youthful lover. Now, it's interesting, because writers and dramatists will often point to Cupid as the ideal for this playful archetype, but the source material actually suggests that Krishna embodies these characteristics even more perfectly. Okay, let's move on to the next pair of contrasting archetypes. We're talking about the calm, serene advisor on one side and the fierce, proud warrior on the other. So the Dhira Prashanta archetype. This one highlights a personality that is just fundamentally calm, patient, considerate, and obliging. Think of a peaceful sage or that incredibly thoughtful friend everyone wishes they had. And you can see this quality so beautifully in his relationship with the Pandavas. Motivated just by his pure love for them, he takes on all these roles: charioteer, advisor, friend, even a messenger. He's always serving with this calm and considerate heart. For this peaceful nature, a comparison is often made to the noble king Maharaja Yudhishthira, who's also considered a classic example of that Dhirda Prasanta personality. And finally, we get to the Dhiradatta archetype, and this is where the paradox really smacks you in the face. This personality is described with traits like pride, envy, and being easily angered. I mean, how on earth does that fit into the picture? Okay, but the crucial point here is purpose. These seemingly negative traits are only ever used for a divine reason. In this quote, Krishna is talking to his enemy, Kaliyavana. He isn't just being angry for the sake of it. He's using this intimidating, proud language, comparing himself to a powerful snake and his enemies to frogs, as a weapon to protect his devotees. It's anger with a purpose. So let's do a quick recap. We've got the chivalrous Dhiradatta, the playful Dhiralalita, the peaceful Dhiraprashanta, and the proud Dhiradatta. 4 totally distinct, even opposing archetypes, all present within one divine personality. It's a lot to take in. So now we have to put all these pieces together. How do we resolve this central paradox? This idea of a being who is both gentle and angry, humble and proud, peaceful and restless, all at once. Well, the resolution is surprisingly elegant. First, a truly complete being has to contain everything, and that includes qualities that seem to contradict each other. Second, what looks like a flaw to us, like anger, is actually just a tool, and it's only ever used for a divine purpose. And third, that ultimate purpose is always, always the protection and happiness of his devotees. And to really grasp the sheer scale of this completeness, just listen to this. This quote says that even Mahavishnu, the cosmic being whose breath creates and destroys entire universes, is just a partial representation of Krishna. That puts the idea of a complete personality on a level that's, well, pretty much unimaginable. So this leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We've just explored 4 complex facets, but they're only a tiny glimpse into a personality that's described as limitless. It really makes you stop and wonder, what does it truly mean for any personality to be considered complete?